Hey, and welcome to this video where I'll look at the Teched takeaway with the roadmap for the two integration products from SAP Cloud Integration and PI. So Cloud Integration first. I think that was where most things was happening. So I think XSLT30 was a part of the roadmap. And I think this looks pretty interesting. So there's a link here. I think this is from 2014. So it's pretty old and strange we haven't got used to it. But it contains a lot of things about a lot more programming, streaming capabilities and XPath and stuff like that. So there's some improvements there. Hybris. Those will be a Hybris adapter, so you don't need Hybris Data Hub, which kind of seems strange that if you have to get all integration products, they have to have their own integration engine. So that's a pretty cool thing. There is going to be some UI improvements. So currently, there's something you can do in Eclipse and something you can do in the web UI, and they want to deprecate the Eclipse tooling by the end of the year, so nothing more is going to happen there. So and one of the things I've been really frustrated with is the message mapping. It's not really good in the web UI. There's some things you cannot do, and from my perspective, I don't really like the productivity in it. It seems a little slow if you want to do any mappings there. So I do hope they're going to update that. And then I think they will try to first deprecate the development interface, and then next will be the monitoring. But for now, you still need to have the Eclipse if you want to do a lot of monitoring, figure out what's going on. And still, yeah, Eclipse is going to be for adaptive development, and there it makes sense. You just have to, because you're anyway needing to code quite a lot to do these things. They talked about they had an SLA, a premium SLA for 2-hour downtime if data center was crashed or whatever, and then they would have a maximum data loss of 30 minutes. And I'm not sure about that. You needed a special license for that, or if that was included, or that's why it's called premium. And what the standard SLA, I am not really sure about. But I guess for most PI or most integration development or integration platforms, a 30-minute data loss is not that crucial. It would mostly be some development effort you'd lose, and messages should not be persisted anyway, so it's not that much you'd lose in that perspective. If I'm more concerned if it's the same SLA for S4 system, imagine losing 30 minutes of your transactions. That would be a mess. But I guess there you have different ways of ensuring that. Then they had this testing service they talked about at the Cloud Day. Where they would do a mock-up for some productive interfaces, and then they would run it on the pre-productive code line and ensure that they would still run and nothing would be broken there. So it's a good service. But yeah, it will need to be mocked services, and you would only submit a subset of messages, and it'll be a little. So you do it for some of the complex scenarios that you have where you're using message mappings and some of the different Java Groovy scripts. And then I guess the question is, how will this work with the adapters? Then next part is there's going to be an API for creating iFlows, and I think it seemed like the whole platform from you would get APIs to manage all of that, which is really nice. We are creating a test tool, and right now we are mixing the testing between using the screen and this iFlow API. So it seems like the iFlow API will be extended, so we're looking forward to that. One of the good things about this having a platform and a lot of products together is you can bundle them and make them enhance each other's functionality. So cloud platform integration, there you just have the so if someone calls your service multiple times, it will bring down the backend system because you don't have a correct way of maintaining that, or ensuring that no one calls the service too many times. They talked about they would merge these two things together, so you could put in the filtering and say you only need to call it 3 times per hour or something like that. So with these two merged together, it'll be a lot more resilient and stronger, and that makes a lot of sense for companies to just have one platform where these things is going on in. I think so. Currently, they've built the platform using Neo, but want to move it to Cloud Foundry. And the benefit of that is that it will then run on the Cloud Foundry database systems, which means you'll be able to run it on Azure, Google, and Amazon. So all of the big data centers, you'll be able to have your own instance of API management running on it. So it will be as close to the data sources that you have, basically. There was a talk about this integration content advisor, and I think this has been a product that has been out there for a long time, and it's been I've had a lot of good ideas, and it's not really been to the level that it needed to be for getting out there. Now it seems like they're at least planning to release it, which means they must be a bit more sure about this functionality. So I think this is a part of the enterprise license. If you got that one for the cloud platform integration, you are good. I think it comes from the B2B capabilities about defining common mapping goals together with your business. And then the goal is it should be able to guide all of your integration, not just B2B, but also A2A application for all integrations. Then we got the roadmap for PI, or process orchestration, PI. I think there was like 8,000 to 10,000 users at the moment, which is pretty good. And so there was a little challenging to figure out who is actually a user of this. So it was who had created tickets or something like that they used as metric on it. And obviously as a software provider, I can see this myself. It's challenging to know how much people are starting using your product and what they're using it for. So there was a B2B add-on, SP5. I was just looking into it. I couldn't find the node for it, but there seems to be some new functionality released with it. Then I think the big part of this and cloud platform integration, Camel, is you can take all your cloud content, run it locally, and then you just have to pay the core license, CPU core license of your process PO system. And I think this will merge the two platforms, and you may get a chance where you say where you want to deploy this integration, I don't just say, okay, deploy it locally or on cloud, and makes a lot of sense. Because for a lot of integration, and especially cloud, where you don't have as many options, it's really useful to have this the cloud aspect, because you can just call multiple times in the same iFlow instead of having to use a BPM for all of these technical processes. Then there's the wildcard and sender-receiver agreement, and migration tool has also been updated, so it's a lot easier to move these into iFlows and ICOs on PO 7.5, I think it is. Yeah, I guess most of these things is happening on 7.5. I think this wildcard receiver was also on previous releases. Not sure. On a support packet there. Alerting has also been enhanced, so you can see about if there's blocked messages in your chain for a number of minutes, then you'd get an alert and you can do some dealing with it then. With SP9, you can run Java mappings in Java 8 and not the default Java 5. And then in future, that should be possible to configure this. So you're not bound about the version that the system selects. So if you upgrade to SP9, all your mappings need to be compiled, or maybe it was first if you edit them, they will be recompiled to Java 5 or to Java 8. And obviously it's good for some libraries, but other it may be a little challenging trying to run it on a newer release. There was a Solman product, a solution manager product that's called Focused Run, to allow you to monitor multiple systems for hosting providers. So if you had I think it was up to 10,000 systems, PO systems, you can monitor them all in one screen and see what's going to happen. But I think this was just for those kind of providers. And then the last customer influence program was closed. And then the question is if it's going to open again, there will be a new one or not. I guess we will probably hear more about this next week. BPM, there was, so if you're using the Fiori inbox, you should be able to get intent to the user. So instead of having to open the task, they get all the information required to process it all the way in the BPM task. And then they can just do approve reject there instead of having to open it, view the data, and process it. BPM, so right now in the roadmap, it looked like the only BPM feature was the ability to, if you have embedded long-running sub-processes, there was some challenge about which version it should run on of the embedded processes. And this should be released with this new version of it. Or in a future release. I think that was apparently a bigger task, figuring out how to solve that. So if you like this video, do click like. If there's something I missed, do write it. Or if you like it and want me to create more videos, do put a comment. I am reading all the comments and trying to help out. So if there's anything, let me know.